Today we're going to do something really cool and we're going to talk client success. Now, the reason we're talking client success, or the way we're going to talk about it, is based off of some of our clients at the moment who are doing incredibly well in our service. But we've picked out clients that we think will relate back to you guys a lot, because what I know is that everybody's on different health and fitness journeys. And I think that we can all get really stuck in our own heads thinking that whatever we believe are our limitations, and that the things that we're struggling with or dealing with, whether that's like personally or in your fitness journey or injury or any of those things, you think that they're limitations that hold you back. And because of that, I think a lot of people don't take action on their goals, or they don't try as hard as they can, or they don't seek the help. And so what we've done today is we've picked out some clients to give you some examples of people who have almost like gone against that and found a way to make it work. And this is going to be an inspiration for those of you who do have limitations at the moment, whether that is like personal struggles, mental health struggles, injuries, illnesses, or you just need a bit of motivation to understand that like where you're at is okay and you can still make moves on your goals regardless. It's just about knowing what to do, right?
Yeah, I really like what you said about people thinking like they have these limitations, so that's something that they can't push past, because I guess they've never seen the other side. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know because you haven't experienced the other side of that. So you think that there's no other side because you've never been there.
Well, that's it. And then it's like, how do you create that self-belief and how do you take that first step? And the stories we're going to go through are people just like you that have gone through these things before and are currently actively dealing with these things, but we've been able to make sure that they reach their goals. Because I think something that I always say, and I feel like you've heard me say this before, it's like if you've seen somebody in real life do what you want to do, that's just evidence that you can do it too. And I always live by that statement, because rather than thinking that you've got limitations and that, oh, this person's doing that, but I'm not like this person, I couldn't do that, I could never. It's actually looking at it from a different perspective, and it's going, well, you know, if this person that I'm following on social media, or if this person that's running this business, or if this person that I met on the street, like is doing something that is also my goal or my passion or a project I'd love to start, it's okay, well, I could actually learn how to do that because they've proven that it can be done. And I think that that's a really cool thing it's just changing that perspective, but it's so hard to do. I wanted to start, if that's okay. Are you right if I start?
Go for it.
So the first person that I want to talk about, a bit of a client success story, but also a shout out to our client Rose. Now, Rose has been in our service for, I would say, 3 years now. It's been, I couldn't even keep counting. Anyway, she's a long-term client. When she first started with us, she did start with body composition goals. So what this means is she was really focused on the way that she looked, and she wanted to change the way that she looked. And over time, what we found is that her ability to focus on how she looks for long periods of time actually caused a lot of strain for her mentally. And I understand this because I think for a lot of us, we put pressure on ourselves because we want to look a certain way. And if we don't look that way, we start to feel really negatively about ourselves. And this is why prioritizing habits and prioritizing your health and fitness and knowing that the goal that you want to achieve is going to come as the byproduct, that's always the best way to think about it. And for Rose, we had to do a lot of mindset work because she was constantly feeling down about herself and actually self-sabotaging and not following through on her nutrition and not doing her training sessions and always snoozing the alarm and just not really being consistent. And a lot of that stemmed back to the fact that she didn't look how she wanted to look yet, and therefore she didn't believe that she could get there. So over time, when we noticed these patterns arise, we actually started to prioritize trying to shift the focus. And what we did was we pulled her out of the fat loss phase that she was in and we put her into a performance phase instead. Now, the reason we put her into this performance phase is because of what I just said, right? Like if you're focusing on habits, you're focusing on following through on the things that make you feel good, that are good for your body, the goal that you physically want to see will come as a byproduct. And so we actually transferred Rose over to our coach, Maddie, because Maddie's an exercise physiologist and like top notch, mind you. And she's incredible when it comes to programming. And what we did was we started a program with Rose that was heavily focused around how she performs in the gym, how she lifts, her movement, habits and consistency with that. And what we found was that for Rose, she was able to get way more consistent, build more strength and stay on track longer. And due to that, she has completely changed her physique. And I think that it's something to be really proud of, because with Rose's case, she could have given up when it got hard and when she felt like she couldn't stay consistent. But instead we worked together to find a way around it. And now she's thriving, and we're actually about to hit another deficit again because, yeah, exciting, right? We're hitting a deficit together on Monday, her and I, because Maddie has done an incredible job at setting Rose up now properly with the right habits in place that we've been working towards. And she's just got the right attitude around like making progress now, because she understands that it's not just about how she looks.
Pop off.
I know.
I don't work with Rose closely, so I actually didn't know that. That's really exciting.
It's so good.
The fact you said that she wasn't consistent with her training and nutrition before is wild to me, because over the time that she's worked with Maddie, what I can see, what I've seen is, because it's shifted to that performance phase, she's posting her training. She's so proud of how she's lifting. She's so much stronger. She's consistent. She's focusing on how her nutrition helps her, you know, move in the gym as well. Yeah. And it's actually incredible to see. I'm so excited that now she's in a good place. And
I know, right? I'm so excited. And her physique is like,
Go Rose.
It's so nice. Like, she's really put the hard work in. And I think what we can all learn from an experience like this is that if you are somebody who's noticing that you have like fat loss goals, or even building goals, and you have body composition goals, you want to change how you look, and you're noticing that you're just not quite following through with the plan, or you're not able to stay consistent, or, you know, like the goal doesn't really motivate you, because sometimes that can also feel really hard when you want to change how you look, but that's not motivating because you're not there. It's like, okay, well, can you actually shift the focus? And it's hard to do. You got to do it slowly over time, which is what we did with Rose. But can you shift the focus and go, okay, what about how my body can move? What about how I feel when I train? What about how I can lift? And can I track my weights? And can I increase my intensity and my performance? And that's going to make you more motivated, because you're seeing those little milestones ticked off every week, rather than just like waiting to lose another kilo on the scales or waiting to get abs. It's like, what can you do in the meantime to motivate you more to reach the goal? So yeah.
I love that.
I think she did amazing.
Love that mindset shift. That's really cool.
I know.
Yeah. One of the clients I wanted to shout out is one of my clients, Audrey, who I'm going to give a bit of a backstory to Audrey's story, because it is a little bit on the heavier side in terms of, you know, she's dealt with quite a lot of, you know, mental health diagnosis, quite a lot of traumatic experience as well. You know, she's dealt with eating disorders in the past as well. And she just got quite a lot of a, you know, backstory before even coming to coaching, in terms of dieting previously, not getting to where she wants, that leading to, you know, negative repetitive cycles as well. And I just want to preface and say that whilst, yes, Audrey isn't exactly where she wants to be just yet, we've only been working together for a few months. She's already she's already lost weight. She's changed her habits around. I've seen her go through, you know, multiple phases in terms of how she's navigating her mindset, and the way that, you know, I've seen someone come in a really negative headspace with really negative self-talk about how, you know, how they're performing, how they're feeling, how their self-belief, like you said, the limitations, and the fact that she's been able to almost flip that around and slowly start to push through. And it's almost like she keeps having these constant hurdles thrown at her, and like she's just battling them one at a time. Like things just keep popping up, and yes, they are minor setbacks, but it's the fact that she keeps going because she knows her end goal of looking after herself is more important than, you know, living in the limited beliefs that she's always held.
Yeah, I think something I love about Audrey as well is exactly what you said, you know, like she's gone through a lot in her life, and there's so many people listening to this that might be going through something right now. And when you go through experiences in your world that kind of feel like they're holding you back, you get to make a choice in that moment on whether it does or not. And I think as humans, we don't realize that we are in more, like we have more control than what we think we do. It's just about whether you can like actually manage your thoughts and your feelings. And the thing with Audrey that I love is that she wants it so bad, and her want for her goals means that she continues to show up, and I guarantee she'll get there because of that. And she's already seen, yeah, as you said, fat loss progress, but the fat loss progress is like, that's just like the cherry on top, you know, it's not even about that for her. And it's about making sure that she can prioritize the habits. And the thing, I want you to talk, if you don't mind, about like what you've done to help Audrey prioritize the habits, because I know for a lot of people who do have like mental health struggles, or limiting beliefs and feel like they're never going to get to their goal, it can be really hard to see a way out of how they're feeling right now.
Yeah. So one thing I immediately noticed with Audrey's case is when we first started working together, the negative talk towards herself and the belief that she held in achieving her goal. And she did mention it multiple times that she just doesn't believe she can get there. And one thing I started to do in the very beginning is I wanted her to slowly, without her really knowing what I was doing, was basically just slowly changing the way how she thinks about herself and her beliefs towards reaching her goals. So we would, schedule times where we would, have conversations as to 3 things that she's really proud of herself for doing that week. Because in the beginning, she felt that there wasn't anything, or she felt like, I messed up in this section. That means I'm failing and I'm never going to get there. And when I started to shift the perspective on, hey, like, what are 3 things that you actually did very well this week? Like, what are you proud of yourself for? She was like, oh, well, I guess I am quite proud of this. And then also there's this. And then it's kind of like, how does that person feel after listing all of these things that they've done for themselves? Does that instill more of a sense of confidence in them? Because that's the shift that I've seen. And after doing that for multiple weeks, don't get me wrong, it's not the one little thing that we did in that sense that helped. It's the multiple other things. But I think that definitely changed her ability to think about her progress and how she manages things and be able to reflect a little bit more positively on what she does.
Well, the thing is, when you look at how mindset works and you look at how you go from being negative to positive, it is hard because your brain is wired for certain patterns. So when you're used to thinking a certain way, or used to doing a certain thing, or used to saying a certain thing, that just becomes a pattern and you do it without even realizing, which is why for us, the thing I really love about coaching is you work so closely with people that you can even pick up on the language they use when they talk to themselves. And you can do that through like the calls we have with them, or even messages. Like, we know when a client is being hard on themselves because you can see it in the language they use in the messages. And so what you've really done with her over time is you've been able to slowly get her to shift her focus from all the negative things going on to like, well, what are positive things? And when you do that on repeat, that creates a new pattern in the brain. So then all of a sudden you become a little bit more positive. And I feel like the lesson here is like, if you are going through something in life, even if it's got nothing to do with fitness and you are not really sure how you're going to come out the other side, it is about being able to slowly integrate that positivity by doing little practices. Like, what are 3 things you're grateful for? What are 3 things you did really well this week? It's also setting, and something you've done really well with Audrey too, it's setting the bar a little bit lower than what they think it needs to be.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that I put into practice with Audrey, because I feel like, especially when someone is already finding it really challenging to manage one thing, them feeling like they need to manage a million other things to get to their goal feels like an extra barrier that they don't even want to likely do the very first step in the first place. So, one thing I did was, rather than making going for a walk feel like such a big thing, we reduced it down to, hey, can you do, a 10-minute walk to start with? And whilst, yes, that was challenging and it did prove a bit of a challenge, over time it got Audrey to doing 2 to 3 walks, like active walks per week, where she scheduled those in. And then on top of that, she ended up starting to do mountain climbs. Like, what the hell?
Did she?
She did.
I didn't even know that.
She did recently.
And she's been going to the gym as well.
And then she started going to the gym.
Yeah. See, it's just like small steps over time.
And she was, it's just like, it's kind of confidence instilling in terms of, like you said, like little ticking off the little things, proving to yourself that you can do this stuff. And the more consistently you can show yourself, patterns of, hey, I've done this and this and this, you're like, oh, like, what can I do next?
The thing is, everyone wants everything yesterday. And so when you look at why people don't follow through with their goals long term, it's because they're not willing to stick it out, understanding that it is actually just about changing one habit or one pattern at a time, or integrating one new routine. And what people do is they overhaul everything at once and they go, tomorrow I'm starting, or Monday I'm starting fresh, and I'm going to do this, and they create this like 10-page list of all the things they're going to do to be a different human or a better human or whatever you want to say. And when you look at like what makes people the most successful, it's actually the ones that just focus on integrating one new habit at a time, or one new routine at a time, or prioritizing getting better at one thing at a time. And that compounds over time. So when you think of like Rose and Audrey, what was the thing that they both had in common? Well, it was that they've both been long-term clients. They've been around for ages. And they constantly getting better because we've been able to help them understand that it's not about overhauling your whole life at once. It's about one step at a time, literally. Get that right first before we move on to the next thing. And then you don't know where you're going to be in 12 months because of that. Like if you over 365 days, it's a lot of change you can make. But instead of thinking about it like that, people want everything now and they want everything to be short-lived. So I think that the takeaway from this as well is like learning to be patient and to take one step. That's it. I want to talk about Emily. Let's talk about Em.
Yeah.
Because we've got a client, Emily, who Roberta's coaching. And this story is for those of you who work shift work or crazy hours or are working in a job that is really stressful or that requires you to go away a lot. Just think of any workforces where there's not really much consistency. That's the story of Em. Like Em came to us after working, and I'm not going to tell you the job she does, but working in a high-risk job where she is constantly on the go. She's going away, she's flying overseas, she's on day shifts and night shifts, and you just never know what's going to come her way. And before starting with us, she used that as a reason to think that she could never reach her goals, and that actually was the thing that kept getting in the way. Now, I've seen this story multiple times because we've got clients that have worked in the mines, clients who have worked in the Defence Force, clients who have been fly-in, fly-out workers, clients who are nurses. And there's usually a common recurring theme, and that's that they feel like their job is getting in the way of their goals. And to a degree, like I do want to highlight, yes, it does make your ability to reach your goals. You just have to be smarter with it. I wouldn't necessarily say it makes it harder, but you do have to be smarter with how you approach it. And I also think that for people in jobs like this, it's about being realistic with what's manageable for you, because you probably won't have the same routine, and therefore you shouldn't have the same expectations as someone who's in a 9-to-5.
Yeah, I think the thing with why Em is able to manage and was able to manage so many, for example, trips away. So to preface, she went away for like 3 weeks at a time with no access to sometimes, being able to log things on, with the internet, no access to any supermarkets. She would have meals like ready made that were, like it was like a buffet style. And it was just,
she like didn't get to choose what foods
didn't get
were
to choose what foods, I didn't have any access to training facilities. This is someone who, like has all these hurdles, and also these are unplanned, events as well. So sometimes she will get calls and she has to leave in a week's time, right? So that's how like disruptive the pattern is. But I think the reason why Em is able to see the results that she's seen, and she has seen amazing results, is because she's committed to the process. There isn't really a limiting belief in terms of, can I achieve this? I feel that from my time working with Em, I feel that she has the mindset of, hey, like, what do I need to do to achieve this? And then, okay, I'll go and do it.
Yeah.
And if it's hard, she will let me know. And then we can have a conversation as to, is it hard to the point that you can't do it? Or is it hard to the point we need to have a conversation and help you be able to do it?
Yeah. With Em, like, because I took her initial call, and I know that was initially, or was something I was concerned about, is like, okay, is she going to be able to be open-minded enough about this? She definitely is.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's
clearly
awesome. And she's lost 10 kilos, right?
Yeah.
So far. So, but with Em, that's the biggest thing, that if you look at, okay, well, why is somebody in a job like that successful at their goals, and then there's other people in jobs like that who aren't successful in their goals? Her ability to open up communication lines is incredible. She tells us when she's got problems, so we can fix them, because this is the thing, right? Like, we can't fix something we don't know about. She is committed to the process, and she's willing to take time to do it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is that I feel that Em isn't looking at this as, like, how much weight can I lose in 12 weeks? Like, that's never been the mindset she's gone into this with, because because of her trips away, her process was stalled a little bit. When she started, there wasn't an initial deficit phase or a fat loss phase. We had to postpone it a little bit. And during that time, it wasn't just I guess like this isn't for me, I chose the wrong time. It was okay, well, I can't do it now, but what I can do is build up some other habits, so that way when I come back, I can do it properly. And that's exactly what she did. And in between those phases, there was times away, social events, again, undisrupted work, events as well. And we managed all of those. And yes, they did slightly prolong the phase, but there was nothing that went wrong, because she just stuck to the schedule and literally achieved what she's wanting to achieve because of it.
Well, the thing that gets me right is like, just as an example, let's say she lost 10 kilos in 6 months instead of in 3 months, right? Either way, she's lost the weight. And that's the thing to drive home. That's the point to drive home here is it's like, you, regardless of whether you have an event come up or something with work or you fall off track for a day or whatever it looks like, if you just keep going, you regardless are going to get there. Even if it's not in the initial period you expected, like maybe it's happening a bit slower than you expected, you're still going to get there. I don't think Em's sitting there crying in the corner because she's lost 10 kilos over 6 months, or it hasn't even been that long. But, you know, as the example, my point is, she'll be cheering because she's like, holy shit, like I've come out the other side. I've had this happen, and I've still been able to achieve that goal. Like that's incredible. And versus being like, oh, it's too hard or I can't do it. And then like using that as the reason as to why it's going to set you back, which then does set you back. And in turn, 6 months down the track, you're exactly where you started.
Yeah, I think not prioritizing specific timelines for yourself and not thinking how's the fastest way to get there is always going to be the most sustainable way to get there because you're not putting such an emphasis on, you know, specific time frames. I even had a call with her last week and I was like, hey, like, you know, because at the moment we're still in a deficit phase because, again, it had to have little mini breaks in between for travel, going away, whatever it was. We've got a few more weeks left of the deficit. I know she is someone who's going to nail her reverse as well. Like, I'm so confident in that. She's going to solidify her fat loss. We're going to get her up to maintenance. And then I said to her, I was like, oh, like, have you had to think about, you know, what your goals are after that? Because, well, we need to, like, you know, start planning ahead and just making sure that you're confident with where you're going. She's like, oh yeah. She's like, I haven't even thought about it. She's like, but I'm just very keen. She's like, she was like, I'm just keen to see what the 12 months is going to look like. Because last year I did really well. She's like, what else can I do?
See,
I was like, that's a cool mindset to have.
Because it means that she's like, yeah, if I can do this, then like I can do other things. Yeah, it's growth mindset. That's fucking awesome. It's
very fun.
We've got another one here. Let's talk about Kasey. Because Kasey is a girl, like I want to kind of give a backstory on Kasey because Kasey and I have been kind of like what's the word, like playing almost like phone tag or DM tag for like years, right? So Kasey is somebody that I knew needed our help, but I knew that she needed to be ready. Like, and she needed to tell herself she was ready. I didn't need to push that. I didn't want to push that. But Kasey and I have been like keeping in touch over quite a few years. Like I'm talking probably 3+ years. Like she's been following me. I've been checking in, seeing how she's going. We've had really good chats, really good conversations. We built really good connection with each other. But I knew that she was one that like I really wanted her to come into coaching when she felt like, okay, now's the time that I really feel confident to do this. And that was a big step because I understand what it's like to have a coach for the first time and not really know what to expect. And you just don't have that self-belief. And over the years, she's built on it, which has been awesome. And we got on a call. I don't know, Kasey's been around for a little while now. We made it maybe like late last year. We got on a call with Kasey, and she was like, "No, like I'm ready. I really want to do this." I said, "Great, like let's get you started." So Kasey's somebody who has had like weight loss goals for years. She has always been somebody who hasn't been like the fittest and has been a little bit overweight, and she's such an incredible human. Like she's got such a sweet soul and she just cares so much about herself and everybody around her. And I think what's happened over the years is she's put everyone else before herself. But she got to this point where she's like, no, it's actually about me now. And I thought that was awesome. So she started with us, but she started with us from ground zero. No knowledge on health and fitness at all. Didn't have a gym membership, never set foot in a gym before. And that in itself is so commendable because that's literally starting from the beginning. And I know it can be really scary when you're starting from the very, very beginning. You haven't even tried any of this sort of stuff before and you're actually asking for help. And that in itself is incredible. And she's working with you as well, Roberta, and she's training from home and she's gotten to a point where she's sending training videos in. And I just feel like, yes, she's making progress physically, but the thing that I want to commend here is that she's gotten herself slowly, and we can't take credit for this. She's gotten herself slowly over the years to a point where she's got enough self-belief that she's now willing to step outside her comfort zone. And the mental transformation that she's had in even the last couple of months is insane.
Oh, Kasey's so cool. I just think she's so self-determined. It's insane. Like I think a lot of the time people struggle with, like for example, people struggle with training from home because it requires self-discipline, and that is so understandable because training from home and getting yourself, you know, in a comfortable place in your house where that's your time to rest or spend time with family. Like to get yourself up and train from home consistently, not even for like a few weeks until you get yourself to the gym. Kasey's been doing this for, I think, 4 months now.
I feel like it has been about 4 months.
Maybe 4.5 months consistently. I don't think there's been a single week missed unless maybe it was Christmas week. There's been nothing missed. She's been ticking them off. Maybe there's been one session missed a week because she's gone traveling. But the fact that she's so disciplined, and I've asked her as well in terms of motivation and how she's feeling and with her focus. She's just said like, she's like, oh, I just wasn't feeling that motivated, but I did do it anyway. Here are my training videos.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
It's just, and then other times she will be motivated and she's feeling really good about her training, and she'll be like, hey, like I was able to get, increase my weight here, or I've been able to increase my range of motion, or like it's nice to see the positive changes she sees, and or like I'm noticing this change in my lunges. I feel so much more confident doing them. I think that's so nice because it's that self-determination that gets you the self-belief that you're, a lot of people struggle getting to in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with Kasey's case, she is somebody who it's like, it's the same thing as everyone else we've spoken about so far. I feel like this is the overarching theme. They're doing it knowing that the results are going to come in time. And it doesn't matter whether it's today or in 6 months, they're just determined to get there. And if we really look at like the difference between the clients who are successful with us and the clients who aren't successful with us, the difference between them is always their ability to understand that this is a long-term thing and that they're willing to put in the work until they get there, and they're willing to lean on their coach, versus the ones who come in, want to get the results straight away, and when they're not seeing the results, when they have one bad day, it's like game over.
100%. I don't think I could have said that any better.
Yeah.
I think even even the fact that you said Kasey's come in, she hadn't stepped foot in a gym. She reached out asking for help with nutrition as well, because from my understanding, she also hadn't, placed too much focus on that either, or educating herself around that as well. And I think the fact that she was so open-minded to receiving feedback, implementing it in small doses, and the fact that, when we started on a food journal. We had a conversation as to where we were headed. We transferred over to tracking, and she was so...
Is she tracking now?
Yeah, she's tracking.
Oh,
She's been tracking for weeks.
Is she really?
Yeah, and she's doing really well.
How long has she been tracking for?
Maybe like 6 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that's
so
really cool because I know that in the beginning she was a little bit more, from my understanding with you, she said she was a bit wary of doing it, but I think it's again, she's built this self-trust and confidence in the journey and different techniques and, strategies because she's been able to see the other ones work. So she's like, oh, well, why not try another one, or why not try this? And she's become, like so adaptable and receptive to everything.
I think the other thing is too, right? Like you have to go into everything with the headspace of like, oh, if this doesn't feel good or it doesn't necessarily work for me, we'll just change it. Yeah. So like she's not going in and being like, this is what my coach has given me, this is the only thing I can do. She's like, okay, well, we'll try this, and if this feels good, we'll keep doing it, and if not, we'll change it. So I think that's why she's probably open-minded to tracking, because I think a lot of people just initially put a stop sign on tracking and go, oh, it's restrictive. And it's like, well, tracking isn't restrictive, your mindset around it is. So it's her ability to be open-minded and to go, like Roberta's there, she's my coach, she only wants what's best for me, so obviously she's only going to give me things that she thinks is beneficial. And I think that that's fucking awesome. That's so good.
So Kasey, if you're listening, you're
well
a legend.
Done. Now, like, guys, these are just like a couple of stories of so many clients we have that are absolutely incredible. But the reason that we picked these guys out today is because they're all very different stories with all different struggles and all different, things that they've had to navigate in their life in order to reach their goals. And it's just proof that like you're your own limitation, and like you will only reach your goals if you really believe that you can and you take time to make it happen and make it work for you. Or if you don't reach your goals, that's also a limitation, and it's because you've apparently decided that it's not something you can achieve. Like there's always a way. And these 4 stories have shown even us as coaches that like you can do anything you set your mind to. And I'm hoping that the stories we've told today are just helping you guys realize that, like, if there is currently something holding you back that you feel is getting in the way, we don't want to disregard that. Like, yes, absolutely, there are things in life that can get in the way. There are things in life that can distract you. There are things in life that can make trying to reach your goals so much harder. And that's a real thing. Like, people struggle with that. But everyone goes through something at some point in their lives. And it's also about how you respond to it and how you navigate it. And knowing that if you truly believe you can get through it, that you probably can. So I'm hoping that this has just given you guys a bit of inspiration to know that whatever you're going through at the moment, whatever you think is in the way, it doesn't have to be. It's just about learning how to work your way around it.